Nezarec has been appearing more frequently in Destiny over the last couple of releases, and this week we have some crazy revelations. The dark relics we've been hunting throughout Plunder belong to or were a part of Nezarec, who was a disciple of the Witness long ago and was entombed in the lunar pyramid on our moon. Today we are going to discuss how these relics got misplaced, how Nezarec may possibly make a return, and much more. Recently released in-game was a cutscene which detailed Mithrax's past. The House of Light Cal was a dark pirate lord in the past where he wielded these dark powers from the relics and turned against his own crew. I've made another video detailing Mithrax's upbringing, being introduced to the spider by Aramis when they were young, all the way up to this dark transformation. If it's not already up on the channel, it should be soon, and there's links below and at the top right. Now I'm going to explain this week's story in my video in the next couple of days, but it kicks off this week with Mithrax telling us that Ido wants to meet with Aramis, a neutral meeting where they just talk things out and see if they can work out some sort of deal. During the meeting, Aramis reveals Mithrax's past as a brutal pirate lord killer, and also how he acquired the dark power from the lunar pyramid.
Centuries ago, when the Elixni first came to this system, when your father was just a hatchling, our people had nothing. So, when they discovered Nezarec, disciple of the Witness, entombed in the lunar pyramid, they harvested its dark power for themselves and for the future of our people. Mithrax inherited one of these relics, and its power ensnared him. He sought more, no matter the cost. But the more his crew had, the less they shared. That became the way of things. Elixni turned against Elixni, and friend turned against friend. Over time, the relics of Nezarec were separated and scattered across the galaxy. Their influence faded, but the stains of their power endure. Mithrax fled from the butchery he was born into. He claims he has changed, and now lives a life of piety. But no matter how he tries to bury his past, with selfish displays of generosity and scraps of stolen wisdom, Mithrax will always be a liar, a thief, and a killer.
So there you have it. We've speculated about this character for months and years, and many people said it's just nothing, it's a throwaway character, nothing's gonna happen, but it turns out that's definitely not the case. Nezarec was a disciple of the Witness and entombed on the lunar pyramid for some reason. This is why the pyramid is empty and we visit it back in Shadowkeep. At the end of last season, if you think back, we even visited an area tied to this character, Chantry of the Darkest Hour. And what is Nezarec called in the Nezarec Sin lore? Well, the final god of pain, the purest light, the darkest hour. Pieces of Nezarec were stolen and used by the Elixni, and I'm sure others with this dark magic. After a time, the relics would become scattered, and now the Witness wants them back for some reason. But why? What power does Nezarec hold?
Our parlay with Aramis has changed everything. Though not in the way I had hoped. I understand the relics now. The potency of their darkness, and Aramis Kell's use of the old pirate crews to hunt them. Even my father's reticence. But this is not about the House of Light. This is about the mysterious disciple. The many tombs of Nezarec are well known, though the being itself is less thoroughly documented. I will delve into the Cryptarchy's records and see what I can uncover.
Last season, we learned of Nezarec's Whisper, a glaive that apparently belonged to the disciple a long time ago given by Ralk, and Eris found this on the moon. She is elsewhere, a chamber. It is cavernous. It is dark. Strange bisected statues of stratified minerals line the cathedral-like walls and culminate at the far end before a yawning opening that empties into perpetual nothingness. On the floor, a length of unidentifiable metal caked in centuries of dust catches her eye. A glaive. Eris lifts it into her hand. Striations of red illuminate on its surface and throb like a heartbeat. The glaive's power feels faint, distant, and yet an ember of something terrible still burns within. "Where are you?" Eris whispers into the air. There is no reply. So a glaive titled Nezarec's Whisper still had a heartbeat inside of it, meaning something still exists and something evil and terrible burns within. Now that we know many relics and parts of Nezarec have been scattered around the system, it makes complete sense when you think about it. Drifter visited a place called the Fourth Tomb of Nezarec in the past, so it explains why Nezarec has so many tombs, right? The many parts were scattered, and Drifter even explains how things felt off with these relics back in week 1 or 2. This is why they were tied to this character whose tombs he has visited in the past.
Now me? I took one look and knew those things were bad news. Gave me a little shiver. Reminds me of something. From a long time ago. Maybe I should do a little research of my own.
It's also quite scary to think we've been collecting these relics ourselves. So what are we gonna do with them? Does Mithrax have some type of plan where we destroy them so no one else can use the power? Or do we summon Nezarec to help us? You might think this is crazy, but we'll get to that in a moment. So here's what we know. Nezarec was a disciple of the Witness. We knew that Ralk was even tied to this character because he gifted them the glaive. We also know they were entombed on the lunar pyramid for some reason. From Nezarec's Sin, the first piece of armor to ever mention this character, we saw something interesting. Nezarec existed before the collapse and was in pre-Golden Age text. The last couple of lines made many speculate about the beliefs of Nezarec and who they sided with. For Nezarec is no demon, but a fiend, arch and vile in ways unknown. He is a path and a way, one of many, and his sin, so wicked, so divine, is that he will never cower when dusk does fall, but stand vigilant as old stars die and new light blinks its first upon this fated eternity. Previous community theory suggested that Nezarec turned against the Witness during the collapse. Perhaps this is why the character was killed and entombed and stuck on this pyramid. Recently, I made a video about an exotic called the Delicate Tomb, which we received this season. The whole basis for the lore of this weapon is that something evil is trapped inside. The thing has pyramid imagery all around it, and although it looks bright and happy, that's the point. It's meant to hide this dark creature within. Here is the lore from that weapon again if you want to hear it. They mistake the vessel for its contents. They confuse the pieces with the whole. They see their imprisonment as empowerment. They are hostages of their flesh, unable to see without vision, unable to hear without sound, unable to slake their thirst for fear of drowning. Their ignorance is their saving grace. Yet one among them understands in their limited fashion. They pour from one vessel to another, a welcome change, a new form, another method of gifting death. I am made personal, bright and delicate to hide my true form, an intimacy. They think me contained, but I am instead diffused as vapor upon the wind. Once again, I am becoming. So, will Nezarec actually make a return if possible? Does he exist somehow like in this Delicate Tomb weapon? Or will something happen with all of these relics to sort of summon them? Nezarec had many tombs, and this delicate one is maybe the one that still houses some of their soul. Anyway, Guardians, this is all we got for today's video. Nezarec, the disciple of the Witness, did exist. They had their own ship, which resides on our moon, and many pieces of them and their dark power were scattered across the system long ago. This is what Aramis now searches for and what the Witness wants. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.